Good morning, Dallas ISD. Buenos dias. Oh, good. Edwin, this audience is bilingual. The rest of my speech can be in Spanish. Thank you for choosing us. You're going to make us proud. And to have our Teacher of the Year, she actually gave my speech, but I'll forgive her. But she's a phenomenal individual, and someday we all hope to be someone like her. And Ms. Shelton, while I appreciate that introduction, you didn't get the name quite right. It's actually Eliu Misael Hinojosa de los Reyes Valles Salazar Gómez Gutiérrez. That's why they call me Mikey Baby. So, teachers have had a big impact in my life. I was born in Nuevo Laredo, Tamaulipas. My dad had a second grade education, very similar to Edwin's dad. My mom had a second grade education, but my family wanted to bring us to the greatest country in the world so that we could get an education. And so I was born in Nuevo Laredo, and then we moved to Lubbock, Texas. So my first experience in Lubbock, Texas in 1962. I have a teacher, and she was beautiful. Her name was Miss Jones. She had a beehive haircut up to right here. And so she looked at my name, Eliu Misael Hinojosa, and she goes, she couldn't pronounce any of those. So she looked at the name and she goes, So in first grade, Misael looked like Mitchell. So in first grade, I was Mitchell Hinojosa. And somehow, by the grace of God, I got promoted to second grade. When I got to second grade, there was already 2 Mitchells in second grade. So in second grade, I became Michael Hinojosa. And then at the end of second grade, we moved to Dallas. My parents told us we're going to move into a 2-story house in beautiful Dallas, where they just shot the President of the United States. We moved to Dallas, and it was 2 stories, all right, but it wasn't a house. It was the West Dallas Housing Projects. And when I moved to West Dallas, there was already 2 Michaels in second grade, so I became Mike in second grade. So now, I don't care what you call me, as long as you call me in time for lunch. And I don't miss many meals. But I really love it when you call me Big Papa. So anyway, so I grew up in Oak Cliff, and I make it somehow through middle school, make it to high school. I'm a high school basketball player. I have a coach, and he comes up to me in my senior year. He said, Hinojosa. I said, yes, sir. He goes, you're short, but you're slow too. I said, thanks, Coach. That was very inspirational. He goes, but you're the smartest kid I ever coached. You're going to be somebody. It's just not going to be on the basketball floor. So teachers have always inspired me. I had great teachers my whole career in Dallas. And, the real legacy of the work that you do is the story of my parents. Because, they had 10 kids, and they wanted us to get an education. And so I just found out this story about my oldest sisters this summer. So when we came from Mexico, they had gone to business school and middle school in Mexico. When they came to the United States, they were 14 and 15 years old. And since the United States didn't know what to do, they put them at 6th grade. So somehow they persevered and got on and made professional lives. But the rest of us, all the rest of us graduated from high school. 80% Latino graduation rate, that's pretty good. But the real story of my parents, when you have a lot of kids, you're going to have a lot of grandkids. We know how to reproduce. So out of the 22 grandkids, 1 generation removed, 16 have graduated from college. Two are special needs, and they're not going to graduate from college, same 10%. The other 4 went to college, and 2 of my boys graduated from Harvard and Princeton. So never underestimate the power and influence that you're going to have. So yes, I got to become a teacher. I was sitting where you were in 1979. That was the last century. That was the last millennial. And I thought, I went to Texas Tech University. I went to a great school. I said, I know how to teach. I got this. So I stayed up. My first lesson, I stayed up all night. I planned it. It took me 12 hours to plan my lesson. Oh my, I was so fired up. I got up in front of those kids. A couple of them introduced themselves to me. They're here. They're now teachers. And I got up and I gave my lesson, and it lasted 10 minutes. That's when I learned how to tell jokes. There is an art and a science to teaching. And so for those of you that used to teach and came back to us, thank you. Those of you that have taught in other districts and came to Dallas ISD, thank you. Those of you that are starting a new profession, thank you. You will not regret it. You will have an opportunity to make a great impact. So I was asked to tell you some tips about teaching. Well, like she said, my wife's a teacher, and she reminds me I haven't taught since 1987, so what the heck do I know about teaching? But I know this, if you make it to October, you got a chance. So goal number 1 is make it to October. After that, it's all milk and honey. But seriously, you'll have some trying times. I would encourage you to pick out a mentor, someone that you know and respect at that school that will help you. You're not going to tell your supervisor or your TEI guru what you don't know, but you'll take another teacher that you trust and have confidence in, and you'll share, and they can help you along the way. By October, you would have been through 6 weeks. You'd have been through some cycles. You've gotten your rhythm. So once you get there, but if you don't get there, it's going to be tough. But, so my words to you is that you can make a big difference. There's a lot of little Edwin Flores or Michael Hinojosas in Dallas ISD that are waiting for someone to turn them on, and that could be you. This job is hard. Don't let anybody deceive you. It's hard work. But the payoff is huge because you can have a big impact on the lives of young people. And they need you and we need you. We don't apologize for our demographics. You heard President Mitchke and talk about our kids. We're very proud of our kids. We're also very proud of what they're accomplishing. But this is the only thing that's going to break the cycle of poverty, is them having an opportunity to have a great education. So I encourage you to give it your best. And in Dallas ISD, you got to bring your A game every day. Because there's always going to be a unique opportunity you're going to encounter in your work. So let me finish up with 3 things. First of all, look to your past with pride. Be proud of who you are. I'm proud to be an immigrant from Oak Cliff because you're a sum of your experiences. So everything that you've been through your whole life has helped mold you as an individual right now. And be proud, even if it wasn't glorious. You need to be proud of who you are, where you come from, and what you've experienced, because that has molded you as a person. Second thing I say, and especially in early October, You have to be excited about the present. Be excited about what you're doing. Nothing great has ever been accomplished in the absence of enthusiasm. Oh, I don't know, I teach math, they just sent me over here. That's not very inspirational. You gotta believe in what you're doing, you gotta be enthusiastic. And you know what? When I was in middle school, that was the best time of my life. And when I got to high school, man, I was looking at the girls, I said, how could this get any better? And then I went off to college, and man, I had a great time in college. And then I started teaching. Oh my gosh, I was a coach. And then I got bumped in, and then I went to the suburb. I applied for an assistant principal's job in Dallas, and I couldn't even get an interview. So I had to go to the suburbs. So what I'm trying to tell you is every job I ever had is the best job I ever had, and none of them started that way. So enjoy what you're doing and do it with enthusiasm. I make mistakes at full speed. Thank goodness my board members forgive me. But if you're not doing something with enthusiasm, then people aren't even going to notice. And then finally, I would encourage you to look to the future with hope and aspiration, because that's what the young people are doing when they sit in your classroom. They're looking to the future, to a better future for themselves. And you got to look to the future with hope and aspiration. Don't believe this sinister theory that things are going to be awful. If that's the cloud you carry, how are you going to inspire other people to do great? So always look to the future with hope and aspiration. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Have a great life, a great career. Thank you very much.